From America to Australia and everywhere in between, we bring you inspiring, informative interviews with accomplished South Asian diaspora spanning every field and walk of life. Welcome to the Desi Buzz Talk Show with your host, Dr. Shabana Parvez.
Welcome back to the show. My guest today is Samina Saleem. As president of InNova Consulting Incorporated, Samina leads with both technical expertise and business foresight. She was raised by a City of Chicago engineer and developed a lifelong connection to the field with deep respect for the vital role that engineering plays in shaping communities. That early exposure, combined with her career as a software engineer and her family's multi-generational engineering, which we'll get into later, inspires her to guide with vision, integrity, and innovation. She oversees the strategic growth, business development, cultivates partnerships, and ensures that her company, InNova, and her staff not only deliver high-quality, innovative solutions, but also reflects the community's commitment to engagement, sustainability, and advancing opportunities for women in STEM. Thank you for being with us today, Samina.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. So let's get right into it. We're going to go into, tell us a little bit about your being raised as let's see. We're going to talk about your company and your leadership journey, but let's go back to the beginning. You grew up in a family of engineers, multi-generational. So what was the earliest memory that you remember that made you think maybe engineering would be part of your life, or, and at that time, did you have a sense that maybe that you would be challenging this because as a woman, you're really entering a very male-dominated field?
So growing up, I did not have any desire as such to be an engineer. I loved playing teacher. And so one of my fondest memories is having a chalkboard at that time. I know kids may not know what chalkboard and chalk and all of that is right now, but that was one of my favorite toys that I had. And I would spend hours just, playing teacher and just teaching all my stuffed animals and dolls and stuff math. But as I was growing up and I had that desire for math, it just became the thing that I wanted to do. I ended up going to an all-girls high school, and at that time I still didn't understand. I guess I didn't grasp that engineering was a male-dominated field because I was just surrounded by girls, and alhamdulillah, that was a blessing for me because I was not, stuck into gender roles or stereotypes and stuff. So alhamdulillah, that was a good foundation.
So good. So initially, though, you started off in software engineering, right? So what was the thing that drew you to computer science? And then in that, how was it that prepared you to go to what you're doing now with, engineering consulting?
Sure. I actually had majored in math and computer science at Loyola University. And so I still wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to do it. But as I started taking the classes in computer science, I really, loved the problem solving there and, developing complex code and, being able to create solutions and stuff. And so that kind of each class that I took made me a little bit more determined to complete my computer science and complete that energy, and it gave me a lot of patience to deal with it because you do have to sit, figure out and, decide the code and then, decode sometimes and all of that stuff. So patience was basically the foundation, I think. And that is the foundation, not only in my work, in my career, in my, even with my kids. I think that, I've developed a lot of patience, and that's the foundation of my success, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Patience. That's a really good one. And persistence, I guess, right? Just like, yeah. So now we mentioned briefly multi-generational. So you're the daughter of a civil engineer, you're the wife of a structural engineer, and now the mother of a civil engineer as well.
Yes.
So tell us about how this multi-generational engineering legacy and how has that influenced your personal and professional decisions?
Sure. Well, engineers, and I'll consider myself an engineer too. We are, by nature, very intentional and innovative, problem solvers. That's like the foundation of what we are. And, this being within a family of engineers, I am very purposeful and intentional in my choices, in anything I do. And I even coming up with the name InNova for my company, I didn't want to lock myself into just civil or structural engineering.
Right.
I am trying to be open-minded and bring in different avenues of different types of engineering and sciences. And any new idea comes to me, I'm happy to explore it.
Right,
Um,
because I was looking at your website too, and it's like it's
yeah.
quite impressive. Actually, I thought it was maybe more only civil engineering when you have the urban planning, you have the transportation engineering situation, aviation,
Yes.
as well. So it's really a lot of problem solving that helps the community. That's what it seems
Yes.
like. So it's really very cool. So now this you founded Innova Consulting,
Enough.
which I'm sure is innovative as well. Innova
It
Consulting in May 2023. So when you did that, what was it that actually motivated you to start your own firm? Because it's like, were there gaps? Was there a specific need that you wanted to address when you did that?
Sure. I was part of the industry for a while. I would join my husband at various conferences and conventions and stuff like that. There weren't many Muslim women at the convention, and there were certainly not many with the hijab. And
Mm-hmm.
so I stuck out big time. And
Mm-hmm.
so pretty much that was my desire, to bridge that gap,
Mm-hmm.
and to show not only my daughters, but Muslim women in general that you can wear a hijab and you can know what you're talking about and you can, be a leader in the community and in your career. And so that was the gap that I wanted to fulfill.
Right. So that kind of leads me a little bit to that next question too, because you said your children were also because you wanted to be a role model for them, I'm assuming. So like you wanted to show your daughters, how important was this for you, to show that your daughters that you could lead in STEM and business and you know.
It was vital. My kids were born right after or around the time of 9/11. And
Mm,
so
mm-hmm.
coming out of that for myself was important, to show that being different is not my weakness. And so I wanted my girls to know that being Muslim and being a hijabi on top of that could be my strength. And I wanted them to show, to know that having the niyat, the pure attention, and being sincere to God and His plan will bring barakah into into any
Blessings,
business or
yeah.
any career path that they chose.
Right. Right. This
So
is
it was
true.
very important for
So
me.
you wanted to show like integrity, honesty, and authenticity to yourself, and just like being yourself no matter what. And
No
right,
matter,
and then yeah, the blessing will come from honesty and integrity, really, and
truly,
yeah,
yes.
that's great. So in that again, you since you are, who said Muslim, hijabi, etc., you did actually get your company all the certifications, like it's MBE, some is minority business owned, DBE, disadvantaged business owned, WBE, was women owned business. So you're like certified in all of these. Have any of those certifications, allowed you to have access to more opportunities, partnerships? I mean, how has that helped or not helped your firm?
Sure. No, it does bring you to the table, and it gives you that foundation to showcase yourself, because there are tons of engineering companies.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for me to come up and, meet those people, I do have to have those certifications. They have to be in place. But as I started, that was not going to be my, be all, for that. I wanted it to be my foot in, and then I want to grow out of those programs as soon as possible and be known for my good name, for my good
Right.
work, and for the product we deliver. And
Yeah.
so it's the start, but it's not the end for me.
Right. Yeah, it's a small push or jump start, but it really isn't everything. And it shouldn't be, right? It
Right.
shouldn't be. Yeah. And so, what are the emphasis you talk about in your, uh, uh, as I guess some of the core principles, you talk about aligning people,
Mhm.
productivity, and performance. So, tell us about that philosophy. How does that influence the way that you lead teams and how you deliver on your projects?
So in my company, I consider everyone professionals. I do not like to micromanage. And, the way I look at it is I've hired them for their abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel that if I give them that ability, that trust, that room to grow, to lead, the performance and the productivity just follow. I mean, it's just inherent. If I, choose to manage every single thing, then it just becomes overbearing for them and they don't want to perform at that point.
Right.
But, based on that, that's my leadership skill. I don't like to
Micromanage.
control or micromanage
Yeah,
anyone.
that's great. I mean, you've done uh, certain major projects like airport taxiway reconfigurations
Yeah.
and infrastructure improvements in the municipality. So when you're doing, I mean, these are big projects and, high stakes and multiple disciplines and, collaborations involved. So what kind of leadership qualities are essential when you're managing this kind of, project?
So, someone once told me that I could take the company to a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
and if I want to grow, I have to bring in the leaders for the, different disciplines. And
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I took that to heart, because I'm not going to be an expert in every field.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was my number one thing is, as a leader, find out who my other leaders are going to be and let them lead. And when they come in, they know what the client wants, they know how to listen to the client, and then they know how to convey that to their staff. And so, that's what was important to me, and that was, I think, one of the main skills that I guess for me was me listening to advice given to me and then me passing
Mm-hmm.
that on to the people that I want to put into place.
Yeah, so you're allowing the people who have the expertise in that particular department or discipline to lead that and, yeah,
Yes,
step back while they do what they're best at. And that's
right,
great.
right.
So, any other ways in which your firm, Innova Consulting, is different from traditional engineering firms? And in terms of like how you deliver your solutions, practical real world solutions?
Um, you know, I go back to again the micromanaging and just letting my team grow. A lot of the employees come in, they want to try something new, they want to attend different classes, different conventions. My Unless it's something totally that I don't understand, I try to encourage everybody to grow. And my philosophy is that whether they're with me or not, it'll bring value to me at some point. If they're with me, they help my company grow. If they leave me, they'll remember me and they'll
Mm-hmm.
help me, take me on the journey with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good way to think about it. Um, so I think you also mentioned your company's a little bit on the small side, which also allows you to be really more flexible in certain things.
Yes.
How do you balance like the need? Then you're the president, you're overseeing, and you have, you need to have you want to grow your business, obviously keep your clients happy, and hopefully repeat clientele, and then you have to be technically precise and accurate. So what is the how do you balance all that?
Um, Again, it comes into who my staff is, and to be able to do it. I cannot do anything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest lesson that I learned. And so when I bring them on, I want to bring in people that can fit into our culture. Alhamdulillah, I mean, we grew from 4 to 24 people within a
That's
six
good.
month time.
Within how many
Um,
months? Six
in
months?
I would say 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
From April, we actually rented out some space in April right after Ramzan. Had
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 people, and within at this time right now at the end of this year, we're at about 24 people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Great.
Alhamdulillah, it's just the people that when I interview and I try to listen to them and see what kind of vision they have. Does it align with me, with my company? Can we develop together, work together?
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to the client in that same way. And so, alhamdulillah, even a lot of times the work kind of comes in before the people come in. So even the client is understanding my way of working and realizes that, I am very determined, to make
Mm-hmm.
Innova successful.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, success is when my people succeed. I,
Mm-hmm.
as a company, will succeed then.
Right. I think they say often the human resources and the people inside a company are the biggest asset, not,
That's my biggest
the
asset.
walls, the buildings, or the machines or whatever. So, in your engineering and urban planning projects, like, because communities of people are directly impacted by the infrastructure, right? So,
Right.
how are you, what is your focus in terms of making the planning projects that you do be people centric and as well as being ready for the future and being innovative?
So, we right now, AI is a big thing,
Mm-hmm.
and so we are trying to figure out how can we bring in newer technology into engineering? Engineering is, I mean, is a very old field, right? The only way to make sure that we bring in new innovative solutions is to also be part of the technology and grow. And so we try to bring in AI and other technologies, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the people are safe, the communities that we are building around us are safe, and that we listen to what the community around us needs. Urban planning and landscape architecture, we try to figure out the new and bring in kind of the old ways of doing stuff, make it
Mm-hmm.
sustainable and make it better for, leave projects that are going to benefit society after
Mm-hmm.
we're gone too.
Right, like a legacy. So what is the most common operational challenge that you've had as you like, across your because you work in the public sector and private sector. So what kind of because you're also advising organizations, right, on how to improve their internal processes as you work with different clients?
Yes, yes. Communication. I
Mm.
think, communication is the one thing that can cause barriers,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's between the client, and us, or within, our managers and employees, or just within the general public, or within the government, and, within us as, not only business owners, but, residents and stuff like that. Communication could become the single biggest hurdle, I
Mm-hmm.
think, and to kind of reinforce that into people and say that, just let us know what it is that you need and let's figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
and communicate early so that, problems
Yeah,
don't develop and then we have
right.
to fix a lot of things around us.
Right. So, what do you think is the future of engineering in the United States? Because we talked about AI. There's so many advancements, technological advancements, right, in everything. And
Yes.
there's all, obviously sustainability is a big, goal as well as you're working in to be worked into urban planning, transportation, infrastructure, and all that. So, what do you see? What excites you about the future of engineering in the U.S.?
So I love AI,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you. I see that as, something that can, a lot of people are afraid of jobs being lost.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as, it's another kind of revolution that
Mm-hmm.
we have going right now. And so there's a lot of tools within, AI that we can use for help in urban planning, and, safety.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of new technology that comes in terms of traffic engineering,
Mm-hmm.
collecting data, and then using that data to come up with innovative solutions. And so
Mm-hmm.
AI, I think, is one of the more exciting,
Mm-hmm.
an exciting future for engineering.
Right. Let's talk a little bit more about now your leadership and other associations. So I know you mentioned that when you went to the all girls high school, it really didn't like bother you, or you didn't think about like, what career women could or couldn't have because you were in an all girls school. But, it is really still a male dominated industry. So now that you're in this industry, have you personally faced any challenges as a woman in leadership in this industry?
Yes, I would say, definitely. I think that, I say my hijab is my strength, but it does make me feel that I have to work twice as hard,
Mm.
to get my point across.
Mm-hmm.
And it, it could become a barrier if I let it. I
Mm-hmm.
won't let it. I know that, it's a load that I have to carry. And so hopefully me carrying that will make it a little bit easier
For
for
other
my
people.
girls and
Yeah.
for others.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's one of the things
So
that
have
I
you
have.
done anything specifically to navigate through that? Or is it just kind of like you say, you just have to work hard and harder? That's it. You just have to be more on top of your game than
I
usual.
think joining these organizations,
Mhm.
I'm part of AMCOB, I'm part of the Illinois Muslim Chamber, the Illinois
Right.
Asian, Civil Engineers Group. And
Yeah.
so coming out and being visible, I
Hmm.
think is going to be one of the biggest things that I can do.
Yes.
That people can see that, hey, there is someone like me that's out there
Hmm.
doing these things.
Yeah, because that was leading into what I wanted to ask you next is like the, Illinois Muslim Chamber of Commerce, you're involved there, and then Illinois Asian American Civil Engineer. So why else do you say is it important for community and industry and, why is advocacy in that area important for you, like being a member like this? Besides
So
just
that,
visibility, like you already mentioned.
sure. So that we can have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
We're not working individually, but we can work collectively as a group and bring awareness to
Mm-hmm.
Asian Americans. There's a bunch of other groups out there, and everybody. It's important for everybody to get that recognition. And so these groups are now. I feel like now, as an Asian, female, as an engineer, I have a place that I can say is, can give voice to the things that I'm facing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it was important for me to join those groups.
Yeah, that's great. So, you've I mean, so far, really inspiring, all the hard work you're doing as a role model. So, what advice would you give to young women and other minority professionals who want to build careers or even companies like you have in these STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math fields?
If you love science, pursue it. Do what you love. Be determined, and yeah, there's going to be struggles. And but if you're determined and you have the potential and you have the hard work, the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So, what now, if you weren't doing engineering and if you weren't leading this engineering consulting firm, what else would you have? What would be another, like, a dream career, alternative career? I know at one point you said maybe teacher, but what other career would you like to explore?
When my kids were younger and I had a lot of time to watch TV, I
Mm-hmm.
used to love watching the remodeling shows and the
On
real estate
HGTV,
shows,
yeah.
HGTV. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that I would have loved to be able to do those things, go buy a house, flip it, decorate
Mm-hmm.
it, sell it. So
Yeah.
I think I would have loved to have had that opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
do those things.
Yeah. And in a way, I guess it's still aligned with, real estate and building and remote. You still structures you're building, and you actually would have even a more detailed and nuanced view of, like, of things if you're flipping a house because you have a lot more engineering background.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That might be another possibility, right? Maybe another
Who
company
knows?
in the future, right? So, what do you do to unwind? I mean, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of managing, and so after all these demanding projects and teams, is there any hobby or personal ritual that you like, that keeps you grounded, that kind of keeps you sane?
I think my kids keep me grounded. I mean, spend time with them now as they're adults, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not disciplining them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just chill, relax, have a meal, and just talk and
Mm-hmm.
laugh and joke. I mean, that's my most favorite time,
Mm-hmm.
spending time with my kids.
Yeah, so that's your way to recharge. Because I always ask, as a physician, ask everybody those two main questions. It's like, what is your wellness routine, or how do you keep balanced? I mean, is there, like, okay, some people run, some people do yoga, some people just like, I don't know, go shopping for therapy, whatever it is. Is there any kind of other wellness routine or health? It's something that you principles that you live by to keep yourself energetic, and besides the time with your children, which is really important.
Prayer is a big thing
Of
for me.
course, yes.
And so for me, especially after starting the company, even getting up for tahajjud, that has been my biggest thing for wellness for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it has grounded me. I feel like it's an outlet for me. It's my counseling, it's my
Mm-hmm.
peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the bigger things. And then just taking time to reflect. I should be doing more wellness for myself, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to get into that. But mentally, these are the things that bring me peace.
Yeah.
Prayer, my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and just reflecting.
Yeah, that's great. And then, what would you say is a secret, if there is any secret to your success? I know you mentioned a little bit in the beginning was patience and perseverance. And was there anything else, or who or what would be the secret to your success so far?
My parents, typical as other, immigrants that came in at that time, I watched them, build from nothing
Mm-hmm.
and take care of us. And so that
So you
was my
had good
biggest,
role models to follow and everything.
amazing. Yes, yes,
That's
amazing.
great.
And so, that was what led me to do what I do. And I'm very blessed in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, as a closing message, again, same thing. You know, because all of this engineering infrastructure is largely male dominated, but you are a female founder, president, role model. What is your final message for our readers, our viewers, especially young women and girls? They may hesitate because they don't yet see enough women at the top.
Right.
And this is
You
obviously
know,
part of why we want to distribute this, because we want these young women to see, more people like them that are very successful.
accomplishing what you love is never going to be easy,
Mhm.
but when the pride you feel when you check off those goals that you have is something that is, indescribable.
Mhm.
And, have a plan, have faith in God, and work hard, and you'll get it done.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. That's inspiring. Thank you so much. It was good talking to you, and wish you all the best. Do you have what's in the future for you? Is it just we're continuing with this? It's still young, I guess, the company, so you're not looking too far ahead yet, or
Oh no, I have plans.
well, lots of plans. I guess we'll stay tuned and we'll
Yes,
see
stay tuned.
how they
Yes,
materialize, right?
yes, and
Okay.
and it could be anything. I'm not limiting myself. That's my
Yeah.
biggest thing is I'm not going to limit
You'll rule out
myself. And
anything. Okay, great.
yes,
That's
yeah,
good. Very good.
thank you.
Thank you so much. And we wish you
Appreciate
all the
it. Thank
best,
you
and we'll watch
so
what
much.
you're doing.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank
Thank you
you.
for your time. Thank you.
Bye.